Yo, Darious Britt here, and today is time for another movie breakdown. Today we're getting at Finding Nemo. This movie's so cute, everybody's gotta watch this on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Pops! Sit down, we're gonna watch Finding Nemo! It's like the cinematic equivalent of a warm hug. If you're new to screenwriting, you can learn a ton by breaking down other films into their various story elements. If you're not familiar with your structure, I suggest you check a video that I did on it because I'll be using that to break down this film. I will leave a link in the description section. Total runtime is 100 minutes, and well, it's about that time, let's get into it!
Prologue. Marlin the clownfish and wifey just move into a neighborhood. They got a huge family, as in 400-something fish eggs. All seems well until a barracuda strikes. Marlin wakes up to find that the barracuda has eaten coral and all but one fish egg, Nemo.
We gotta take a moment of silence, guys. Okay, moving on. So this prologue helps set up our father-son story, sets up the stakes, and it also sets up Marlin's soon-to-be character flaw of overprotectiveness. And now we can't lose the only son that he's got left. That's a pretty solid first 5 minutes.
Act 1. Losing Nemo. It's Nemo's first day of school. Marlin does his helicopter dad thing, smothering Nemo with his overprotectiveness. Marlin sees Nemo off on his first day, but when he finds out that they're going to the drop-off, he freaks. Marlin catches Nemo at the drop-off and embarrasses him in front of everyone.
So Nemo's got the little, undersized fan, and Marlin's just trying to protect him, but what he's actually doing is antagonizing his own son, and he doesn't even realize it.
Inciting incident. Nemo swims out to the boat in an act of sheer rebellion against his father. He's determined to prove that he's a good swimmer by swimming out and touching the fishing boat. On his way back to the lift, this happens. Marlin tries to catch up to the boat, but he ultimately fails.
Marlin's worst fear has come to pass. He's lost Nemo. So from here, the story kind of splits off into two threads. We've got the A story, which is Marlin trying to find his son Nemo, and then we've got the B story, which is Nemo's journey with his captors. Now, we already know what Marlin's dramatic goal is for the rest of the film. He's got to find his kid. But we don't really know what Nemo's is yet. It's safe to assume it's probably gonna be to survive.
Marlin runs into a short-term memory challenged fish named Dory while looking for clues to the whereabouts of the fishing boat. Complication. Dory and Marlin find themselves company in a fish are friends not food support group for sharks. Marlin finds the goggles left by the divers who captured Nemo, but when Dory bleeds, it sends one of the sharks into a feeding frenzy. A chase ensues. Dory and Marlin escape with the mask. Explosions. First plot point. B story. Nemo finds himself in the aquarium of the dentist. We're now in a new location where Nemo will spend the duration of Act 2. He meets a cast of new fish. We're given a ticking clock device. The dentist's niece Darla's birthday is coming up, and the dentist plans on giving Nemo to her as a present. There's only one problem. She's a fish killer. Act 2, Finding Nemo / Surviving the Aquarium.
Now, Darla is an awesome ticking time clock device because she raises the stakes. Nemo's got to get out of that aquarium before Darla gets a hold of him, or else he's going to be one dead fish.
Nemo almost gets sucked into the filtration system when Gil coaches Nemo, allowing him to free himself. Like Nemo, Gil has a bum fin. Marlin and Dora lose the mask and must venture into the deep, dark depths of the ocean to retrieve it. First plot point, A story. Marlin and Dory almost get eaten by a deep sea fish. Marlin distracts the killer fish while Dory reads the address on the mask.
So Marlin's got an address to someplace in Australia, which is officially his first clue to finding his son Nemo, so now the journey with him and Dory really begins.
Gil outlines a plan to escape the aquarium, which would require Nemo to swim into and jam the filtration system. When asked about the location of an address, a school of fish direct Marlin and Dory toward the East Australian Current. Complication. On their way, they find themselves in a school of jellyfish. Marlin escapes, but then goes back into the swarm to save Dory, both barely escaping with their lives. In the aquarium, they hatch the plan. Nemo swims into the filtration system and jams the fan with a rock. But the plan fails and the gang barely rescue Nemo from being chopped up by the filtration fan. A story, midpoint. Thanks to the mob of sea turtles, Marlin and Dory find themselves in the East Australian Current. This is a victory and a milestone on their path to finding Nemo. Character. Like Marlin, Crush is a father, and when one of Crush's babies gets tossed outside of the current, this happens.
Let us see what Squirt does flying solo.
Whoa! Whoa!
Seeing this, Marlin talks with Crush about the anxieties of being a parent, and Crush imparts some advice on Marlin.
Oh, Blue.
All by themselves?
Sure.
But dude, How do you know when they're ready?
Well, you never really know, but when they know, you'll know, you know? Oh.
For Marlin, this interaction is a positive step towards him dealing with his fears of the sea and his overprotectiveness of Nemo. Crush's relationship with his son is sort of like a mirror of Marlin and Nemo's relationship, showing Marlin essentially that, you know, it's okay to loosen up the reins a little bit. Everything's gonna be okay, bro. You don't have to hold on so tight.
B story, midpoint. News of Marlin's exploits to find Nemo spread like wildfire. The tales get back to Nemo. This is just the morale boost Nemo needs to try blocking the filter once more. This time he succeeds.
Like a boss.
Marlin and Dory exit the East Australian current, get lost, and wind up in the belly of a whale. Obstacle. Meanwhile, the aquarium at the dentist's office gets nice and filthy.
Technically, those fish are swimming in their own
Character. While in the whale, Dory communicates with the whale and is told to move to the back of the throat. Of course, Marlin doesn't believe her, but when holding on for dear life later on, Marlin decides to have a little faith and trust in Dory, and he lets go.
That's not like you, Pops. That's not like you at all.
The whale then blows the dynamic duo out of its blowhole, and at last, they're in Sydney. Obstacle. The dentist has installed a new water cleaner in the tank while the fish were asleep. Looks like their original plan has failed, and Nemo gets snatched up by the dentist just as Darla arrives. Marlin and Dory get a lift from a friendly seagull. Nemo plays dead to trick the dentist. Marlin and Dory arrive just in time to save Nemo from being thrown out in the trash can. All is lost. Marlin and Dory spot Nemo and he looks dead as hell. And then they get shooed out by the dentist.
Dramatic irony, so they've come so far only to find Nemo dead. But of course, he's not really dead. Suspense.
Gil saves Nemo from certain death, and down the drain Nemo goes. Dark night of the soul. Once they arrive back in the ocean, Marlin separates from Dory, defeated and broken. Act 3, reuniting with Dad.
So this is kind of clever because 2/3 of the movie is about Marlin trying to find Nemo, and now Act 3 is about Nemo trying to find Marlin.
Second plot point. It's clear Nemo's looking for Pops. Nemo runs into Dory. They both look for Marlin. Dory remembers Nemo. She puts the pinch on the crab to find out where Marlin went, and then Marlin and Nemo reunite.
Thank goodness.
Act 3 twist. Dory gets caught in a fishing net along with hundreds of other fish. Character. Nemo has an idea to save Dory, but Marlin must trust Nemo enough to let him go and allow him to act on his own. Can Marlin do it?
I can do this!
You're right.
Now this is a big moment in terms of Marlin's character arc because we see that he's gotten to a space where he can accept that his son can take care of himself. He ain't gotta be helicopter pops no more.
Climax. Nemo, Dory, and Marlin convince all of the fish to work together to swim down against the net. It's a trick Nemo learned from Gil earlier in the movie. The fish eventually snap the fishing harness and escape. Resolution. Marlin takes Nemo to school. All is well. Even the sharks drop through to say hello. Nemo and Marlin now have a healthy respect and understanding for each other.
Boom! Such a Father's Day movie. Well, the premise of a father looking for his son obviously has broad appeal. Super relatable, right? It doesn't matter if you're 60 or if you're 12. You can emotionally connect with it. Now, we don't all have to be dads who've lost a kid, but we all understand that family dynamic. And, you know, you can imagine how terrifying that might be. Plus, we all like fish. All of us. We gotta talk about that prologue though. Most would agree that was a very effective prologue, and you know, it was only 5 minutes long, but it managed to make us sympathize with the Marlin character. How'd they do that? 1. Undeserved misfortune. Showing a character who's forced to deal with a highly misfortunate situation that is very undeserved is one of the quickest ways to elicit sympathy from an audience.
Marlin seems like a cool family fish, taking care of his wife and eggs, just moving into a new fish hole, when boom, the whole family gets taken out.
And if that doesn't get you, then you just don't have a heart. 2. He's a fighter. When he almost lost everything, he didn't just give up and go and like cower in a corner. Now, yes, he was definitely hurting.
But as soon as he saw that he had one fish egg left, he pulled himself together and vowed that he'd never let anything happen to it.
It's human nature. You just can't help but root for a person who may have been dealt a really bad hand, but they just keep pushing forward. Character arcs. Now, Marlin has a completely understandable, overprotective helicopter dad type attitude toward his son Nemo.
Over the course of the film, he becomes a well-adjusted father who understands that he can't hold on so tight anymore. He's got to give his son Nemo room to grow.
Nemo has sort of a rocky relationship with Marlin at the start.
He loves his pops, but sort of views him as a scaredy cat who embarrasses him. By the end of the film, he has a healthy respect and a newfound appreciation for his dad. Dory is lost and her short-term memory is completely shot, but as she and Marlin become close friends throughout their adventures together, her memory improves and she gains a sense of home.
Dory helps Marlin learn how to take it easy, and then in return, Marlin helps Dory find a sense of belonging. That sounds fair. I told you it was a cute movie, wasn't it? We're gonna watch this every Father's Day until you die. Well, that's all I got for you. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like or subscribe. You can find me on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or the Twitter, baby. You can also check out my second YouTube channel, Darius Britt, where I vlog about my adventures on the film fights of a surrogate, my first feature-length film, Unsound, live casting vlogs, etc., etc. I do believe that's all I got for you, suckers. D-Bird, Apple, ya.